What if everything the world tells you makes a woman valuable is incomplete? What if true value has nothing to do with beauty, status, or the approval of others? The women who leave the deepest impact aren't the loudest in the room. They don't chase attention, they attract respect. They don't seek validation, they live with purpose. The truth is, only a small percentage of women consistently practice the habits that build lasting confidence, character, and influence. Today, we're going to uncover 6 powerful habits that separate a truly valuable woman from everyone else. These aren't trends. They're timeless principles that transform not just how others see you, but how you see yourself. Imagine for a moment that every compliment you've ever received disappeared. No one praised your appearance. No one applauded your achievements. No one noticed your efforts. Would you still believe you are enough? That question reveals the difference between confidence that is built on applause and confidence that is built on character. The women who make the greatest impact in life understand a truth that many people spend years trying to discover. Your value is never determined by how loudly the world celebrates you. Your value is determined by who you choose to become when no one is watching. Many people unknowingly hand over the keys to their happiness by allowing other people to decide how they should feel about themselves. They wait for approval before believing in their own abilities. They wait for someone else to recognize their potential before they begin pursuing their dreams. But when your confidence depends on someone else's opinion, your peace becomes fragile. Every criticism feels like a personal attack. Every rejection feels like proof that you're not enough. Every comparison steals a little more of your joy. A truly valuable woman refuses to live this way. She understands that external validation is temporary. Today people may admire you, and tomorrow they may criticize you. Trends change, opinions change, people's preferences change. If your identity is built on something that constantly changes, your confidence will always feel unstable. But when your identity is rooted in your values, your integrity, and your purpose, no opinion has the power to shake your foundation. This doesn't mean she believes she is perfect. In fact, she knows she isn't. She has weaknesses, makes mistakes, and experiences moments of self-doubt just like everyone else. The difference is that she doesn't allow those moments to define her. Instead of asking, "What do people think about me?" she asks, "Am I living according to the values I believe in?" That single question shifts the focus from pleasing others to becoming a better version of herself. One of the greatest traps in modern life is comparison. Every day, people are surrounded by carefully edited images and success stories that make it seem as though everyone else has a perfect life. It's easy to believe that someone else is happier, more successful, more attractive, or more accomplished. But comparison is an unfair game because you're comparing your everyday reality to someone else's carefully selected highlights. The woman who truly knows her worth doesn't waste her energy competing with someone else's journey. She understands that every person has different experiences, different struggles, and different timing. Instead of comparing herself to other women, she compares herself to the woman she was yesterday. Has she grown wiser? Has she become kinder? Has she developed greater patience? Has she stayed true to her principles even when it was difficult? Those are the measurements that truly matter, because real success is measured by growth, not by competition. Knowing your worth also means being comfortable saying no. When you recognize your value, you stop chasing relationships that require you to constantly prove yourself. You stop begging for respect from people who have already decided not to give it. You stop shrinking your personality just to fit into places where you were never meant to belong. You realize that your peace is too valuable to sacrifice for temporary acceptance. There is incredible freedom in understanding that not everyone has to like you. You can respect people without needing their approval. You can be kind without becoming a people pleaser. You can listen to feedback without allowing criticism to define your identity. A valuable woman understands that rejection is often redirection. Sometimes the doors that close are protecting you from environments where your gifts would never have been appreciated. She also keeps the promises she makes to herself. Every time she says she will learn something new, take care of her health, finish a project, or overcome a fear, and actually follows through, she strengthens her self-respect. Confidence isn't built by repeating positive affirmations alone. Confidence is built by proving to yourself, day after day, that you are someone who can be trusted. The relationship you have with yourself becomes the foundation for every other relationship in your life. People are naturally drawn to individuals who possess quiet confidence because it doesn't demand attention. It doesn't need to announce itself. It isn't loud, arrogant, or boastful. Instead, it is calm, secure, and steady. A woman who knows her worth listens more than she speaks. She treats everyone with respect, regardless of their status. She celebrates other people's victories because she doesn't see their success as a threat to her own. Her confidence creates peace rather than competition. At the end of the day, your greatest responsibility is not to convince the world that you are valuable. Your greatest responsibility is to live in a way that reminds yourself of your own value every single day. When your worth comes from your character instead of compliments, from your purpose instead of popularity, and from your integrity instead of approval, you become someone the world cannot easily shake. That is the kind of confidence that lasts, and that is the habit that defines a truly valuable woman. Every meaningful transformation begins with a decision that most people never see. Long before success becomes visible, there are countless quiet moments where a person chooses discipline over comfort. These moments rarely receive applause. No one celebrates the woman who wakes up early to work on her goals, reads another chapter instead of scrolling through social media, or chooses a healthy routine when it's easier to make excuses. Yet these are the moments that shape a remarkable life. A truly valuable woman understands that greatness is not created in dramatic breakthroughs, but in the ordinary decisions repeated consistently over time. Many people spend their lives waiting to feel motivated before they take action. They tell themselves they will start exercising when they feel inspired, begin learning when they have more time, or pursue their dreams when life becomes easier. The problem is that motivation is unpredictable. Some days it shows up, and other days it disappears without warning. If your progress depends on how you feel, your progress will always be inconsistent. Discipline, however, is different. Discipline says, I will do what needs to be done, even when I don't feel like doing it. This is where real confidence begins. Confidence isn't created by thinking positive thoughts alone. It grows every time you keep a promise to yourself. Imagine telling yourself that you'll wake up 30 minutes earlier tomorrow and then actually doing it. Imagine committing to finishing a book, learning a new skill, or taking care of your health and following through despite distractions. Every fulfilled promise becomes evidence that you can trust yourself. Over time, that trust develops into unshakable confidence because you know your actions match your words. A valuable woman recognizes that comfort can become one of the greatest obstacles to growth. Comfort feels safe because it asks nothing from you. It encourages you to stay where you are, to avoid risks, and to postpone difficult decisions. But nothing extraordinary grows inside a comfort zone. Every new level of success requires becoming comfortable with temporary discomfort. Whether it's speaking in front of an audience, starting a business, pursuing higher education, ending an unhealthy relationship, or learning a challenging skill, growth always demands courage before it delivers confidence. She also understands the power of daily routines. While others chase quick fixes and overnight success, she focuses on habits that create lasting change. She knows that small actions, repeated consistently, eventually produce extraordinary results. Reading 10 pages every day may not seem significant today, but over the course of a year, it can amount to dozens of completed books. Exercising for 30 minutes each day may feel ordinary, but over months and years, it transforms both physical health and mental resilience. Saving a little money each month may appear insignificant, but consistent financial discipline builds stability and freedom over time. Discipline also teaches patience, a quality that has become increasingly rare in a world that celebrates instant gratification. Today, people expect immediate results. They want success without struggle, confidence without practice, and achievement without sacrifice. But life rarely works that way. Nature itself teaches that every seed needs time before it becomes a tree. The strongest roots grow beneath the surface long before anyone sees the branches. In the same way, the most valuable woman understands that personal growth often happens quietly before the world notices any visible change. There will be days when progress feels slow. There will be moments when the effort seems invisible and the rewards seem far away. During those times, discipline becomes even more important than motivation. It reminds you that consistency matters more than speed. Success isn't about making one perfect decision. It's about making the right decision repeatedly, even when no one is watching. She also becomes intentional about protecting her time because she knows time is one of the few resources that can never be replaced. Instead of allowing every distraction to control her day, she chooses activities that align with her goals. She understands that every yes to something unnecessary is often a no to something meaningful. This doesn't mean she never rests or enjoys life. Rest is valuable when it restores you. The difference is that she chooses rest with purpose, rather than escaping into endless distractions that leave her feeling empty. Another powerful aspect of discipline is emotional control. A valuable woman doesn't allow temporary emotions to dictate permanent decisions. She knows that feelings change, but values remain. There will be days when fear tells her to quit, doubt whispers that she isn't capable, or disappointment tempts her to give up. Instead of obeying every emotion, she acknowledges how she feels while remaining committed to what she knows is right. This emotional maturity allows her to remain steady during challenges, instead of being controlled by every changing circumstance. Perhaps the greatest reward of discipline is freedom. At first, discipline feels restrictive because it requires saying no to immediate pleasures. But over time, it creates opportunities that undisciplined choices never could. Financial discipline leads to greater independence. Health discipline creates energy and vitality. Emotional discipline strengthens relationships. Mental discipline opens doors to wisdom and better decision-making. What begins as sacrifice eventually becomes freedom. The women who inspire others are rarely those with the easiest lives. They are the ones who quietly chose discipline when excuses were available. They understood that every small decision was shaping the person they were becoming. They didn't wait for perfect conditions or constant motivation. They simply committed themselves to consistent action, one day at a time. That is why discipline is more than a habit. It is a declaration that your future matters more than your temporary comfort. When a woman embraces that mindset, she begins to build a life defined not by convenience, but by purpose, resilience, and lasting value. One of the greatest misconceptions about kindness is the belief that it requires saying yes to everyone. Many people grow up believing that being a good person means always being available, always agreeing, and always putting other people's needs before their own. While generosity and compassion are beautiful qualities, they become harmful when they come at the cost of your own peace, health, and self-respect. A truly valuable woman understands that protecting her peace is not selfish. It is necessary. She knows that she cannot pour into others if she is constantly running on empty, and she refuses to sacrifice her well-being just to avoid disappointing people. Peace is one of the most valuable things a person can possess, yet it is often the easiest thing to lose. It doesn't disappear all at once. It slowly slips away through constant negativity, unhealthy relationships, unnecessary drama, and the pressure to meet everyone's expectations. Every time you tolerate disrespect, ignore your own needs, or remain silent when your values are being compromised, you give away a small piece of your inner peace. Over time, those small compromises become emotional exhaustion. The valuable woman recognizes this pattern and chooses a different path. She understands that boundaries are not walls built to keep people away. They are healthy limits that protect what matters most. Just as a house has doors and locks to protect the people inside, our lives need boundaries to protect our emotional, mental, and spiritual well-being. Without them, anyone can enter your life carrying negativity, manipulation, or disrespect. Healthy boundaries allow love to exist without losing yourself. They allow kindness without becoming a people pleaser. They allow generosity without becoming emotionally drained. Many people struggle with boundaries because they fear rejection. They worry that saying no will make others angry or disappointed. But the valuable woman realizes something important. If someone only values you when you always say yes, they may not truly value you at all. Real relationships are built on mutual respect, not constant sacrifice from one person. The people who genuinely care about you will respect your limits because they understand that your well-being matters too. Learning to say no is one of the most powerful forms of self-respect. Every no to something unhealthy becomes a yes to something meaningful. When you say no to toxic conversations, you say yes to peace of mind. When you say no to relationships built on manipulation, you say yes to emotional freedom. When you say no to endless distractions, you say yes to your dreams and your purpose. Every decision either protects your future or slowly pulls you away from it. A valuable woman also understands the importance of choosing the people she allows into her inner circle. She knows that attitudes, habits, and beliefs are contagious. Spend enough time around negativity, and it begins to shape your thinking. Surround yourself with people who constantly complain, criticize, or create drama, and eventually you will find your own peace disappearing. On the other hand, when you spend time with people who encourage growth, integrity, and kindness, you naturally become stronger yourself. She doesn't choose friends based only on popularity or convenience. She chooses relationships that inspire mutual growth and genuine respect. Protecting peace also means refusing to carry burdens that do not belong to you. Many women feel responsible for fixing everyone's problems, healing everyone's pain, and keeping everyone happy. While empathy is a wonderful quality, it becomes unhealthy when you begin carrying responsibilities that belong to other adults. You can support people without rescuing them. You can love people without controlling their choices. You can care deeply without sacrificing your own emotional health. A valuable woman understands the difference between helping someone and losing herself while trying to save them. She also becomes careful about the words she allows into her mind. Negative opinions, constant criticism, and unnecessary gossip can slowly poison confidence if left unchecked. She realizes that not every opinion deserves her attention. Some criticism contains valuable lessons that help her grow, while other criticism simply reflects another person's insecurity or misunderstanding. Wisdom comes from knowing the difference. She listens with humility, but filters everything through her own values and purpose, instead of allowing every voice to define her identity. Another important boundary she establishes is with her own time. Time is one of life's greatest treasures because once it passes, it can never be recovered. She doesn't allow every request, every interruption, or every distraction to consume her day. She understands that saying yes to everything often means saying no to the goals and relationships that matter most. By protecting her schedule, she creates space for learning, rest, family, personal growth, and meaningful work. She treats her time with respect because she understands that her life is built one day at a time. Perhaps the most powerful boundary she creates is the one within herself. She refuses to let fear make her decisions. She refuses to let guilt manipulate her into choices that violate her values. She refuses to let the opinions of strangers determine her future. This inner boundary becomes the foundation of emotional strength because it reminds her that her identity is not controlled by circumstances or by other people's expectations. The remarkable thing about peace is that it becomes visible. You can often recognize a woman who has learned to protect her peace because she carries herself differently. She doesn't rush to prove herself. She doesn't argue over every disagreement. She doesn't chase people who repeatedly walk away. She responds thoughtfully instead of reacting emotionally. There is a quiet confidence about her because she knows that not every battle deserves her energy. She has learned that maturity is not winning every argument. It is knowing which arguments are not worth having. In the end, a truly valuable woman understands that protecting her peace is one of the greatest gifts she can give herself. It allows her to love more deeply, lead more wisely, and live more intentionally. Her boundaries are not signs of weakness or selfishness. They are evidence of self-respect, emotional maturity, and a clear understanding that the life she is building is too valuable to be constantly interrupted by unnecessary chaos. By protecting her peace, she creates the strength to become the woman she was always meant to be. The women who leave a lasting impact on the world have one characteristic in common. They never believe they have finished growing. They understand that life is not a destination where you suddenly arrive as the perfect version of yourself. Instead, it is a lifelong journey of learning, adapting, improving, and becoming. A truly valuable woman never allows success to make her complacent or failure to make her quit. She approaches every season of life with curiosity, humility, and the willingness to become wiser than she was yesterday. Growth begins with a simple realization. No matter how much you know today, there is always something new to learn tomorrow. This mindset separates extraordinary people from ordinary ones. Many people stop learning after they leave school because they believe education has ended. But education was never meant to stop with a diploma or a degree. Real education begins when you become responsible for your own development. Every book you read, every meaningful conversation you have, every challenge you face, and every mistake you overcome becomes another lesson shaping your future. A valuable woman understands that knowledge is one of the few investments that no one can ever take away from her. Material possessions may come and go. Circumstances may change. Careers may shift. But the wisdom you gain, the skills you develop, and the lessons you learn remain with you wherever life takes you. This is why she invests not only in her appearance, but also in her mind. She reads books that challenge her thinking. She listens to people who inspire growth. She asks thoughtful questions because she knows that curiosity is the doorway to wisdom. One of the greatest barriers to growth is pride. Pride convinces people that they already know enough. It makes them defensive when corrected and resistant when presented with new ideas. A valuable woman chooses humility instead. Humility doesn't mean thinking less of yourself. It means recognizing that every person you meet can teach you something. Sometimes the lesson comes from a successful mentor. Other times it comes from a child, a stranger, or even someone who disagrees with you. Wisdom is found by those who remain teachable. She also understands that failure is one of life's greatest teachers. Society often treats failure as something to be feared or avoided, but every successful person has a history of setbacks. Businesses fail before they succeed. Athletes lose before they become champions. Leaders make mistakes before they gain experience. The difference is not that successful people never fail. It's that they refuse to let failure become their identity. They see every disappointment as information rather than defeat. When something doesn't go according to plan, the valuable woman asks herself powerful questions. What can I learn from this experience? What could I have done differently? How can this challenge make me stronger? These questions transform obstacles into opportunities. Instead of becoming bitter, she becomes wiser. Instead of blaming circumstances, she takes responsibility for her growth. This attitude allows her to move forward while others remain trapped by regret. Growth also requires leaving familiar environments. Comfort may feel safe, but it rarely produces transformation. Every new level in life demands learning something new. Sometimes that means developing better communication skills. Sometimes it means learning financial responsibility, emotional intelligence, leadership, or patience. Every season presents new lessons, and the woman who embraces change discovers strengths she never knew she possessed. She also understands that learning is not limited to information. True growth involves developing character. It is possible to gain knowledge while remaining impatient, selfish, or emotionally immature. A valuable woman works on both her abilities and her attitude. She practices kindness even when it is difficult. She develops patience in situations that test her. She learns forgiveness because carrying resentment only weighs down her own heart. She becomes more emotionally aware, understanding not only her own feelings, but also the feelings of those around her. Another powerful habit is seeking feedback without allowing it to define her. She knows that constructive criticism can reveal blind spots she cannot see on her own. Instead of becoming defensive, she listens carefully, evaluates the advice honestly, and keeps what helps her grow. At the same time, she understands that not every opinion deserves equal attention. She doesn't allow negative voices to discourage her from pursuing her purpose. She learns to distinguish between criticism that builds her and criticism that merely reflects someone else's insecurity. The valuable woman also realizes that growth is often invisible before it becomes visible. Just because progress cannot be seen immediately doesn't mean it isn't happening. Just as roots grow beneath the ground long before a tree produces fruit, personal development often happens quietly. Every book read, every new habit practiced, every difficult conversation handled with maturity, and every challenge faced with courage is strengthening her foundation. One day the results become visible, but only because the unseen work was done consistently. She avoids the dangerous habit of comparing her journey with someone else's. Comparison steals both joy and confidence because every person has different experiences, opportunities, and timing. While someone else may appear ahead in one area of life, they may be facing struggles you cannot see. The valuable woman measures success by one standard: whether she is becoming better than she was yesterday. This keeps her focused on growth instead of competition. Perhaps the most inspiring quality of a woman who never stops learning is her influence on others. She doesn't simply collect knowledge for herself, she shares it generously. She encourages those who are just beginning their journey. She mentors, teaches, listens, and inspires because she understands that wisdom becomes even more valuable when it helps someone else succeed. Her growth creates a ripple effect that reaches her family, her friends, her community, and even future generations. At the end of the day, a truly valuable woman understands that becoming extraordinary is not about reaching perfection. It is about making the daily decision to keep learning, keep growing, and keep becoming the best version of herself. She knows that every lesson learned today prepares her for the opportunities of tomorrow. She embraces challenges because they shape her character. She welcomes correction because it sharpens her wisdom. She remains curious because curiosity keeps her alive with purpose. While many people settle for who they are, she continually strives for who she can become. That commitment to lifelong growth is what makes her not only successful, but truly valuable. One of the clearest signs of a truly valuable woman is not how high she climbs, but how many people she helps rise along the way. In a world that often encourages competition, comparison, and the desire to outshine everyone else, she chooses a different path. She understands that real confidence is never threatened by another person's success. Instead of seeing other women as rivals, she sees them as companions on a journey where everyone has the opportunity to grow, succeed, and make a meaningful difference. She knows that life is not a race with limited winners. There is enough opportunity, enough success, and enough purpose for everyone willing to pursue it with integrity. Many people fall into the trap of comparison because they believe someone else's achievement somehow diminishes their own potential. They celebrate publicly but secretly feel discouraged whenever they see another person succeeding. This mindset creates insecurity because it is built on scarcity. Scarcity says there isn't enough success for everyone. It whispers that if someone else wins, you must lose. But a valuable woman refuses to believe this lie. She understands that another person's victory is proof of what is possible, not evidence of what is impossible. When she sees another woman accomplishing something extraordinary, she doesn't allow jealousy to take root. Instead, she becomes inspired. She asks herself, what can I learn from her journey, rather than, why wasn't that me? This simple shift transforms envy into motivation. Instead of wasting energy comparing herself with others, she invests that energy in improving herself. She recognizes that every successful person has faced struggles, setbacks, and sacrifices that often remain invisible to the outside world. Because she understands this, she celebrates the result while respecting the unseen effort behind it. A valuable woman also chooses encouragement over criticism. She realizes that words have incredible power. A single sentence of genuine encouragement can give someone the courage to keep going during one of the hardest seasons of life. On the other hand, careless criticism can discourage dreams before they ever have the chance to grow. She becomes intentional about speaking words that build people rather than break them. She compliments sincerely. She celebrates honestly. She recognizes effort, not just achievement. Her words become a source of strength because they come from a heart that genuinely wants others to succeed. This doesn't mean she ignores truth or avoids difficult conversations. Sometimes lifting others means offering honest advice with kindness. Sometimes it means helping someone recognize a blind spot that is holding them back. Real encouragement isn't simply telling people what they want to hear. It is caring enough to help them become better while treating them with dignity and respect. Because her motives are rooted in love rather than pride, people trust her guidance instead of feeling judged by it. Another remarkable quality is her willingness to share knowledge instead of guarding it. Insecure people often hide information because they fear becoming replaceable. They believe their value comes from being the only person who knows something. A valuable woman thinks differently. She understands that true leadership is measured by how many leaders you help create. She willingly mentors, teaches, and shares what she has learned because she knows that wisdom grows stronger when it is passed on. She doesn't lose influence by helping others succeed. She multiplies it. She also practices empathy, one of the most overlooked forms of strength. Before judging someone's actions, she tries to understand their circumstances. Before assuming the worst, she listens. She realizes that everyone is fighting battles that are not immediately visible. The smiling coworker may be carrying deep grief. The confident friend may secretly be struggling with self-doubt. The person who appears distant may simply be overwhelmed by life's challenges. This awareness makes her slower to criticize and quicker to show compassion. She chooses understanding over assumptions because she knows that kindness often reaches places where criticism never can. A valuable woman creates an environment where others feel safe to grow. People don't fear making mistakes around her because they know she values progress more than perfection. She celebrates improvement, no matter how small. She reminds others that failure is not the opposite of success, but often part of the journey toward it. Her presence gives people permission to keep learning instead of giving up. This ability to create emotional safety becomes one of her greatest strengths because people naturally grow where they feel accepted and encouraged. She is also generous with recognition. She doesn't need every accomplishment to carry her name. When someone else deserves credit, she gives it freely. She applauds teamwork instead of seeking personal attention. She understands that humble people don't become smaller by recognizing the contributions of others. They become greater because they value truth over ego. Her confidence allows her to celebrate others without feeling overlooked because her identity is not dependent on constant recognition. Perhaps one of the most beautiful aspects of lifting others is the legacy it creates. Success achieved alone may be impressive, but success that transforms other lives becomes unforgettable. Years from now, people may forget awards, titles, or accomplishments, but they will remember how someone made them feel. They will remember the woman who believed in them before they believed in themselves. They will remember the mentor who offered guidance during uncertainty. They will remember the friend who stood beside them when everyone else walked away. These moments create a legacy far greater than personal achievement ever could. She also understands that leadership begins with service. The greatest leaders in history were not remembered because they demanded admiration. They were remembered because they improved the lives of others. A valuable woman carries this mindset into every area of her life. Whether she is leading her family, supporting friends, working with colleagues, or serving her community, she asks a simple but powerful question. How can I add value to the people around me today? This question shifts her focus away from what she can receive and toward what she can contribute. At the end of the day, a truly valuable woman understands that life is not about standing above others, but about helping others stand taller. She knows that confidence is revealed not by competition, but by compassion. She chooses encouragement over envy, collaboration over rivalry, generosity over selfishness, and service over self-promotion. Her influence grows because people feel stronger after spending time with her. She leaves every room a little brighter, every conversation a little more hopeful, and every relationship a little stronger. That is the quiet power of a woman who lifts others instead of competing with them, and that is one of the rare habits that defines a truly valuable woman. There comes a moment in every person's life when they must answer one of the most important questions they will ever face. Why am I here? It is a question that goes far beyond careers, achievements, or recognition. It reaches into the very heart of who you are and what kind of life you want to build. A truly valuable woman understands that living with purpose is far more fulfilling than simply living for comfort, approval, or temporary success. She knows that purpose gives meaning to every challenge, direction to every decision, and strength during every difficult season. Without purpose, life becomes a series of distractions. With purpose, every day becomes an opportunity to make a difference. Many people spend years chasing goals that they believe will make them happy. They chase wealth, popularity, beauty, or status, believing that once they achieve these things, they will finally feel complete. Yet countless people reach those milestones only to discover that external success cannot fill an internal emptiness. The valuable woman recognizes this truth early. She understands that success without purpose often leaves people feeling exhausted instead of fulfilled. Purpose transforms achievement into significance because it connects what you do with why you do it. Living with purpose doesn't necessarily mean changing the entire world. It means making a meaningful difference in the world around you. For one woman, purpose may be raising children with love and wisdom. For another, it may be leading a business with integrity. For someone else, it could be serving her community, teaching others, creating art, or encouraging people who have lost hope. Purpose looks different for every individual, but its effect is always the same. It gives life direction beyond personal gain. A valuable woman begins each day with intention. She doesn't simply ask herself what needs to be done. She asks why it matters. This simple habit changes the way she approaches every responsibility. Work becomes more than earning a paycheck. It becomes an opportunity to serve with excellence. Relationships become more than social connections. They become opportunities to love, encourage, and support others. Challenges become more than obstacles. They become opportunities to grow stronger and wiser. Purpose also provides resilience during difficult times. Life will always include disappointment, setbacks, and unexpected challenges. Dreams may take longer than expected. Relationships may become complicated. Plans may fall apart. Without purpose, these moments can easily lead to discouragement and giving up. But when a woman knows why she is moving forward, she finds the strength to keep going even when the path becomes difficult. Purpose reminds her that temporary pain does not erase a meaningful destination. It teaches her to see obstacles as part of the journey rather than signs that she should quit. One of the greatest qualities of a purpose-driven woman is that she no longer lives for applause. She understands that not everyone will understand her choices. Some people may question her decisions, criticize her direction, or fail to recognize her efforts. Yet she continues anyway because she knows her mission is not dependent on public approval. She has learned that seeking purpose is far more rewarding than seeking popularity. When your identity is anchored in a meaningful mission, the opinions of others lose their ability to control your life. Purpose also influences the choices she makes every day. She becomes more intentional with her time because she realizes that every hour invested is shaping her future. She becomes more careful about the people she allows to influence her because she understands that relationships either strengthen or distract from her calling. She becomes more disciplined because she recognizes that every habit either moves her closer to her purpose or further away from it. Her decisions are no longer random. They are guided by a clear vision of the woman she wants to become. Another powerful characteristic of a woman who lives with purpose is her willingness to serve others. She understands that a meaningful life is rarely built around self-centered ambition. The people who leave the greatest legacy are those who improve the lives of others. Whether through kindness, leadership, generosity, wisdom, or encouragement, she seeks to leave every person better than she found them. She knows that real influence is not measured by how many people know her name, but by how many lives become stronger because she was present. She also understands that purpose requires courage. There will always be moments when fear whispers that she is not capable, not experienced enough, or not ready. But purpose reminds her that growth happens through action, not through waiting for perfect confidence. She takes the first step even when the entire path is not visible. She trusts that every experience, every lesson, and every challenge is preparing her for greater opportunities ahead. Courage does not mean the absence of fear. It means choosing to move forward despite it. Living with purpose also helps her maintain perspective. She no longer becomes consumed by temporary disappointments because she sees them in light of a much bigger picture. A difficult day does not define her life. A single failure does not define her future. She understands that every chapter contributes to the larger story she is writing. This perspective allows her to remain hopeful even during uncertainty, because she believes that every experience has the potential to shape her into a wiser, stronger, and more compassionate person. Perhaps the greatest gift of purpose is the legacy it creates. Material possessions will eventually fade. Titles will be forgotten. Achievements may be surpassed by future generations. But the impact made on people's hearts can last for decades. The encouragement she gave to someone who was struggling, the wisdom she shared with a young person searching for direction, the kindness she showed to someone who felt invisible, and the integrity she demonstrated when no one was watching, these are the things that continue long after she is gone. Her influence becomes a living legacy carried forward through the lives she touched. At the end of the day, a truly valuable woman understands that life is not measured by how much she accumulates, but by how much she contributes. She chooses purpose over comfort, significance over recognition, and service over self-promotion. She wakes up each morning knowing that she has something meaningful to offer the world, no matter how small it may seem. She doesn't wait for perfect circumstances before making a difference. She begins where she is, using what she has, with a heart committed to serving something greater than herself. That is what separates an ordinary life from an extraordinary one. A woman who lives with purpose creates more than success. She creates lasting impact, and that is the defining mark of a truly valuable woman.